Okay, so it's 10 o'clock and we've got a good group on, so we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us this morning on our webinar focused on SBA Economic Injury Disaster loans and what small business owners need to know. My name is Crystal Irons, and I'm the director of the Missouri Small Business Development Center at Missouri State University. And I really appreciate everybody joining us this morning. A few quick Zoom meeting tips before we get started. If you're just joining us, everybody please mute your mic, and I think everybody is, so won't belabor that, but it will help with the feedback. We'll take questions throughout the program, and you're welcome to put all of those in the chat. We have two representatives from the U.S. Small Business Administration Springfield branch office, and so they're going to share with us a bunch of information. Then we're going to go through kind of an FAQ list that they have developed and put together, and then at that time I will then go through the list of all of the questions and read those out and allow both Ram and Lisa to help us answer those questions and try to skip the ones that hopefully we've answered throughout the presentation or through the FAQ. So go ahead and put those in the chat as you think of them. And then if you have any technical difficulty, you're welcome to put that in the chat, and I will try to chat back with you and see if I can't help troubleshoot some of that for you. We will be sending follow-up information after this webinar. So if you registered through our system, we will send the slide deck to you along with some additional information. So if for some reason we don't have your information, please get a hold of us and I'll make sure to add you to that list. So before we jump in, I want to just quickly remind everyone that our office at the Missouri State Small Business Development Center, we are here to help everybody through this really difficult time. One of the things that we are doing a lot of is talking to our local small business owners about their funding options, specifically these SBA disaster loans that we're going to talk about today. You can get a hold of us on our website at sbdc.missouristate.edu, and all of our consultants are available. We're working remotely, but we're available every day to take appointments, and you can schedule right on our website. We are part of a statewide and nationwide network funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, and here in Missouri in partnership with University of Missouri Extension. And I know several of our colleagues across the state are also on this webinar. So welcome, and to everybody else, please know that we are here to support you as you have questions, anything that we can do to help you now and even after this disaster, we're here. So with that, I again am really pleased to have Ron Bassnett and Lisa Zimmerman, sorry Lisa, with the U.S. Small Business Administration Springfield branch office here with us today to share the information that they have about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program through the SBA. So I'll turn it over to both of you. Ron?
Thank you, Crystal, and good morning, everyone. My name is Ram Bassnett with the Small Business Administration, Springfield, Missouri branch office. We are responsible for SBA program delivery in 28 Southwest Missouri counties. Next slide, please. So the U.S. Small Business Administration is offering designated states and territories low-interest federal disaster loans for working capital to small businesses suffering substantial economic injury as a result of the coronavirus. The loan is called Economic Injury Disaster Loan, commonly known as EIDL, E-I-D-L. I'm going to refer as an EIDL moving forward. Small businesses located anywhere in the state of Kansas and Missouri are currently eligible to apply for these loans. Eventually, this loan will be available to small businesses nationwide, including U.S. territories. Please note that the situation is fluid and changes are ongoing for loan submission and approval process. There are some things in the slides that have already changed. We'll try to rectify those as we move along the slides. We are only trying to provide a high-level overview of the EIDL. The online application portal will have the most up-to-date information as you apply these loans. Next slide, please. So what businesses are eligible to apply for these loans? SBA's EIDL loans are available to small businesses, some agricultural cooperatives, small aquaculture businesses, this is an exception, and most private nonprofit organizations, which includes businesses directly affected by the disaster, businesses that offer services directly related to the businesses in the declaration, other businesses indirectly related to the industry that are likely to be harmed by losses in their community. For the disaster loan purposes, definition of a small business is based on North American Industry Classification System or NAICS codes. SBA has a table of small business size standards which will be shared with you. We actually have a PDF file with all the industries there, and then you can look through that file to see what is most relevant to your business and figure out if you qualify as a small business. Size standards for some industries are based on average revenue, whereas others are based on number of employees. For example, small businesses in manufacturing industry are considered small if they have less than 500 employees. Next slide, please. So what are the criteria for a loan approval? A credit history. Applicants must have a credit history acceptable to the SBA. Repayment. SBA must determine that the applicant business has the ability to repay the SBA loan. Eligibility. The applicant business must be physically located in a declared county and suffered working capital losses due to the declared disaster, not due to a downturn in the economy or other reasons. Since the loan is eligible for the entire state of Missouri, most of the small businesses will qualify. Next slide, please. So how much can I borrow? Eligible entities may qualify for loans up to $2 million. The interest rate for this disaster are 3.75% for small businesses and 2.75% for nonprofit organizations. The term of the loan is 30 years across the board. This had changed from this slide. The slide says up to 30 years, but this has now changed. All loans will be 30 years. Eligibility for these working capital loans are based on the size. I already defined that in our previous slide, and the type of business and its financial resources. What can I use the loan funds for? These working capital loans may be used to pay fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills that could have been paid had the disaster not occurred. The loans are not intended to replace lost sales or profits or for expansion. The economic injury disaster loans can be used to pay off existing bridge loans and lines of credit. The economic injury disaster loan cannot be used to refinance long-term debt. So what are the collateral requirements? So for economic injury disaster loans under $25,000, no collateral is required. For loans above $25,000, collateral is required. The slides mentions SBA takes real estate as a collateral when it is available. However, this had changed. SBA is no longer requiring real estate or personal residence as a collateral. Only business assets are used as collateral. For example, furniture and fixtures and accounts receivable, etc. SBA will not decline a loan for lack of collateral, but requires borrowers to place what is available. Next slide, please. So what kind of small businesses can apply for these loans? Examples of eligible industries include, but are not limited to the following: hotels, recreational facilities, charter boats, manufacturers, sports vendors, owners of rental property, restaurants, retailers, souvenir shops, travel agencies, and wholesalers. And again, these are just some examples. Since the entire state of Missouri is eligible, the physical presence qualifies for most of the small businesses. Next slide, please. A little more information about the idle loans and how they are different from other SBA loans. So the SBA's Economic Injury Disaster loans, the funds come directly from the US Treasury. SBA Disaster Office is the entity that handles processing from start to finish. Unlike other SBA products, economic injury disaster loans are not made by banks. Applicants apply through the SBA's Disaster Assistance Program online portal, disasterloan.sba.gov. Disasterloan.sba.gov. There is no cost to apply for these loans. There is no obligation to take the loan if it is offered. The maximum unsecured loan amount is $25,000, meaning for loans under $25,000, there is no requirement for collateral. Applicants that have an existing SBA disaster loan still qualify for an economic injury disaster loan for this disaster, but the loans cannot be consolidated. For example, there are many counties in Missouri that are currently eligible for economic injury loans or disaster loans because of tornadoes. If you already have those, you still qualify for the economic injury disaster loans related to coronavirus. One more information here. If you have an existing disaster loans, like the ones I mentioned before, because of tornadoes and things like that, they are automatically deferred through December 31, 2020. Again, the existing disaster loans are automatically deferred through December 31, 2020. Next slide, please. So basic filing requirements. These are the forms that are required, and some of these have already changed since we put the slides together. What we have found is small businesses have a list of the forms that are required. They actually go to an online platform where they get access to paper forms. They partially fill out those paper forms and they collect all the information that is necessary, and then they go to the online platform to apply for these loans. That way they have all the information that is needed. In the next few slides, there is a link where you can access all these paper forms. So the first form that we have here is SBA loan application. The next is tax information authorization. Complete copies of most recent federal income tax return. This had changed. Most recent federal income tax return is currently waived for small businesses, but not for private nonprofit. Again, in other words, most recent federal income tax return is not an economic injury disaster loan application requirement for a small business. However, a loan officer might require it in the future. Although paper applications and forms are acceptable, filing electronically is the easier, faster, and most accurate. Next slide, please. Okay, so based on the amount of loan, your personal or individual small business circumstances, the loan officers might ask for other information. And again, this is a case-by-case basis. So this is for informational purposes that we have put here. Next slide, please. Now let's talk about some entities that are not eligible for these disaster loans. Agricultural enterprises. If the primary activity of the business, including its affiliates, is as defined in Section 18B1 of the Small Business Act, neither the business nor its affiliates are eligible for economic injury disaster loan assistance. Agricultural enterprises should work with Farm Service Agency. Religious organizations are not eligible. Charitable organizations are not eligible. Gambling concerns are not eligible. Casinos and racetracks are not eligible either. Churches are not eligible for economic injury disaster loans, but they are eligible for physical disasters. Next slide, please. So how to apply? So applicants may apply online. We strongly encourage everyone to apply online using the electronic loan application via the link disasterloan.sba.gov. You can also find paper loan applications in the same website. If you click on loan information, then it will provide you a list of paper forms. We are sharing these slides with you, so you'll have this link as well. If you are planning on submitting physical paper loan applications, there is also an address where you can mail those. And if you need any information regarding online application, the forms, any questions specific to your individual circumstances, we strongly encourage you to call the SBA's Office of Disaster Assistance Customer Service Center at 1-800-659-2955. The number again, 1-800-659-2955. You can also send an email to disastercustomerservice@sba.gov. Again, this is one word, disastercustomerservice@sba.gov. We understand there is a lot of traffic on the online application because of the grand scale of what we are trying to do here. Normally, these disaster loans were designed for a few counties or a couple of states, but now we are opening it up for the entire US, including US territories. So we strongly advise you to apply these during non-peak hours, which are 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Please use Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer. Some users are experiencing issues with using Chrome. SBA is currently revamping online infrastructure and customer service department. Please bear with us in these challenging times. Next slide, please. So assistance from SBA partners. There are free assistance available to the SBA resource partners. It's a tremendous resource to your community. You can get assistance with reconstructing financial records, financial statements, submitting the loan application, etc. Particularly the Small Business Development Centers have experience with this in the past. SCORE Mentors, Women's Business Center, and Veterans Business Outreach Center and local chambers of commerce can help as well. There is a link here that is called sba.gov/local assistance. Again, this will be shared with you. If you put your zip code, it will return the closest help that is available to you. A few more things here. Applicants who have not complied with the terms of previous SBA loans may not be eligible. Application deadline for idle loans is December 21, 2020. The first payment on the economic injury loan issued due to the coronavirus will be automatically deferred for 1 year. Meaning, if you apply for these economic injury loans and you get accepted, you do not have to pay anything until after a year. Now, I want to go through a list of things like you need to recheck the filing requirements to ensure that all the needed information is submitted. The biggest reason for delays in processing is due to missing information. Make sure to complete all filing requirements before submitting the application and forms. If more funds are needed, applicants can submit supporting documents and request for an increase. If less funds are needed, applicants can request a reduction in the loan amount. If the loan request is denied, the applicant will be given up to 6 months in which to provide new information and submit a written request for reconsideration. There's one more important thing here. There is no field to request a specific loan amount in the online application. I'm going to repeat this. There is no field to request a specific loan amount in the online application. SBA determines that based on your application. This is normally 6 months worth of working capital based on your financials before the economic injury happened. So in essence, the SBA will very likely look at your financials from last year during this similar time and try and determine how much working capital is needed and what the impact of the what is the economic injury caused by the coronavirus to your business. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so here our lender relations specialist, Lisa Zimmerman, is going to go through a list of frequently asked questions and answers. Our hope is we'll answer most of your questions when reading out through these FAQs. If you have any general questions, you can send them through the chat and we'll try to answer them. If we cannot answer them, we will collect a list of questions and escalate it and find answers for you. However, if the questions are specific to your personal circumstances, we strongly encourage you to call the SBA Office of Disaster Assistance customer service number. One more time, the number is 1-800-659-2955, 1-800-659-2955, or you can also send them an email, disaster customer service, one word, disaster customer service @sba.gov. And thank you, and we appreciate your patience during these challenging times. I'm going to hand this over to Lisa now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. I'm going to go over the frequently asked questions. Ram's covered most of these, so some of them will be a repeat. And then I can see some of the questions in the queue, so I can answer those as well. And then Crystal, if you have additional, then we can look at those. So one of the most common questions we're getting is, how long does it take to get this money? Well, we were on a call yesterday, and we do know that over $27 million worth of assistance has already been approved to small businesses. They are working them up as quick as possible. We do have people in the state of Missouri. We only went live on Saturday, and some have already received approvals back. So they are working as hard as they can to get those approved as quick as possible. The answer they've given us, typically once you get approval, you're looking at, around a week's time to get the money issued out to you as well. So obviously, as more people apply for the loan, then those numbers may change, but we're encouraging people to apply as soon as possible just to make sure. Okay, Ram covered collateral. We've had a lot of people ask, what they're going to need to put up to get this loan. On loans up to $25,000, you aren't required any collateral. Above $25,000, it is only your business assets and no real estate. This is going to eliminate the need for any type. With a regular loan, you might have had some time spent on a business valuation or an appraisal. This will save that. I think one of the questions in the chat box was in regards to an HVAC system and some improvements on a property. This money is only to be used for existing liabilities that you have. So it would not be any situation where you're refinancing an existing loan or you're making new improvements on a business. Those type of expenses would not qualify for this loan. As Ram mentioned, there's not a place for you to request a dollar amount, and that's because they're formulating how much you receive based on your reporting on your past income and your past expenses. So this is to get you through this difficult time with your payroll, with, you know, if you have a lease, the bills that you have to pay each month as a part of your business. That's what this loan is to be used for. If you have an existing disaster loan, those are immediately and automatically going into deferment until the end of 2020. You don't need to do anything in regards to that. If you have an existing SBA loan and it is not a disaster loan, please contact your SBA lender. They have tools in their toolkit right now to be able to make some adjustments to your loan to help you during this time as well. There's not a cap on the number of loans or dollars on the Economic Impact Disaster Loan Program. There is the cap of $2 million, that is per business. So if you have 3 businesses, they're all under separate umbrellas, and this is really important. If you have 3 businesses and they all function under the same umbrella, that would, it's $2 million per umbrella, not $2 million per business. So, but separate entities, you can apply for as many separate entities as you have. The program does cover startups. I've seen a couple questions in the queue about that. You would need to utilize projections in the application, and that's what they would make the decision from, would be your projections. Our disaster loan specialists have done this for a while. They are, you know, make sure your projections are realistic. Would be about the best thing I can tell you. Okay. As Ron mentioned, the interest rate is 3.75. That's the Treasury calculates that number. I know that we've had some questions about that as well, but it is 3.75. And there is no loan forgiveness as of right now in this program. All of these loans, they are automatically deferred for 12 months, but after that 12 months, you are expected to pay them back. If you have questions about that, feel free to call me, but do remember that the U.S. Treasury is our collection agency. So we just had a question, is it 3.75 fixed? And yes, it is fixed. Okay. As far as the declaration, how long do you have to apply? A typical disaster declaration will be a 9-month time period, but obviously this is a situation we've never had before and unprecedented. So they have told us that if within 9 months everything isn't better, that they will be extending that out. Okay. One of the changes. One of the changes we've had as well in the last few days, now you can pay an owner's salary as part of working capital. A couple days ago, we were being told that owner draw was not a part of this loan program, but now it is being included. Let's see, I got a couple more and then we'll go to the queue and finish those up. Frequently asked question was in regards to underwriting. What are they looking for in these loans? The biggest reason we heard yesterday that loans are being denied is, as Ron mentioned, not all the information is included in your application. There are red asterisks on every blank that you need to fill to be eligible for the loan. If you don't fill out all the asterisks, the application will let you go through, it will let you submit, but you will get a denial letter. So make sure you double check that application and you have every place that has a red asterisk completed. Also, do not complete anything for property damage on the loan application. That spot is available. If you click property damage, then you will, it will take you to another type of loan product, and there's no eligibility for that type of loan product now in Missouri, so you will be denied. They are also looking at credit and repayment ability on the loans as a part of eligibility. A lot of people have asked for a specific credit score. I will tell you that we are not providing a set credit score because there isn't one. Credit scores are very fluid. There's a number of factors that play into people's credit score. So they would not deny based on that. Obviously, if you have a credit report that shows that you have multiple credit cards that are unpaid, or you have a lot of outstanding debt that you do not have a good payment history on, all of those things will come into play when they are assessing. But the biggest factor they're assessing on is completed application, your ability to pay back, and your need in this program. And as Ram mentioned, if you are denied, you do have the opportunity to ask for an exception in the program. That's why a lot of folks are asking us very specific questions, and we're referring them to the hotline. It's because those are case-by-case basis, and we don't know. So, all right. So let's go to the questions in the queue.
So Lisa, one that I see a couple of times, people are using their credit cards, business or personal, to pay for business expenses. And so could they use these loan proceeds to pay the credit card when they come due for the expenses that were used for the business?
Yes. Yeah, that would be considered an expense.
Great. And there are no loan fees, correct?
There are no loan fees. There are no points on this. No annual fees on this. It's just the 3.75. And again, that's a 12-month deferment going in. So nothing's going to start until a year from now.
This is Ram.
Sorry, Ram, go ahead.
I just want to provide a little more information on the personal usage of credit cards. So if you are using your personal credit card to pay the business loan, then your personal life is intertwined with your business. So at that time, the SBA might not be able to allow you to use the EIDL loans to pay off your personal debt on your credit card.
As with a traditional SBA loan, Ram's correct. It's going to be trickier. If you do that, you're going to need to be able to show that that was business-related debt. So if you have a business card, that's going to be a smarter move at this point.
A couple of questions about the personal financial statement, and is that for your business or is that for the owner themselves?
They're going to ask for your personal income and breakdown of that, and breakdown of your personal expenses. Then they're going to be looking at obviously the business expenses as well. So in most situations, they're going to want both.
Oh, there's so many coming in, it's jumping around.
I saw one there in regards to if you borrow and then you don't get enough money, can you request additional? You definitely can. And it's not a whole new application. You would request a loan modification at that point. And we haven't received any guidance on how many times you can request a modification.
Okay. Do you know? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Somebody's asking about the amortization period after the first year. Are they taking the whole 30 years and amortizing it over that amount, whatever you have used out of the loan?
Yes, but there's no penalty for early payoff.
Let's see here. A few people have said that the web address says it's currently under maintenance. Have you heard anything about that?
This is Ram. So the maintenance was supposed to happen overnight. They're addressing some issues right now, and they're working really hard to bring it up online. We can send a note as soon as it comes online.
Okay. Let's see. It said, should we wait to apply for this loan to see what will be available from the new bill, including the 0% and forgiveness of loans? Or will the applying of this economic injury loan affect the approval of other loan options as they become available?
We haven't received, Ram, you want to go ahead on that one?
Sure. So we have not received any guidance on the upcoming other loan programs, at least through the SBA. So our recommendation right now, at least, would be to, if there is a need, small businesses will be better off with continuing with this loan, given if it is approved and if there are better alternatives that come down the road, you do not have to take these loans.
Let's see here. There's a few questions around how are they getting the business expenses, especially if people are not required to turn in their 2019 tax return.
Even though they're not turning in their tax return, Crystal, one of the forms you're signing electronically is a 4506T, and that's allowing the SBA to have your tax transcripts from 18, 17, and 16. So they would be looking at previous years. As far as your business expenses, you're going to be reporting those as a part of the application. And as we mentioned, this will work with startups. I think there's a question too here, if you have a day job and your business. What you put in the system, they may ask for more clarification on, but if you don't have the tax return evidence to support that, but you are entering what expenses you have in regards to your liabilities. So, and a part-time business or a startup business, again, those are still businesses. So as far as a startup, we're not going to help you purchase a building, that type of thing. But if you've just started up and you still have to pay employees, still have to pay the electric bill, still have to keep the lights on, that type of thing.
So in a situation like that where they should do projections, would that be another document that they upload as supporting information?
The way I understand it, and Ram, correct me if you've gotten new information on this, but the way I understand it, they'll be entering that instead of an uploaded document, they would be entering that information into the application. And I think some of that is based on, in the last SOP, we switched over to where we only use our document for financial statements, that type of thing, or the banks, because those do come in so many different formats.
There is one in the chat box way up that says, can you use the funds to make your interest only payments that have been deferred on existing loans throughout this time?
Yes.
This is Ram. Crystal, I want to add a little more information on the required forms. The online application portal is most up to date. It has the most up to date information. It is interactive. Based on how you answer those questions, it will tell you to upload some of these forms, or many times the loan officers might reach back to you asking for additional information.
Mm-hmm.
There is a question about what type of accounting requirements are there? to show how the loan funds are being or were used. Do you have any guidance on that?
I haven't received anything on how they're going to look at those. Rom, have you received anything on that?
No, I haven't. I think that's a good question to call the customer service number.
Okay. There is a question about somebody saying that it couldn't confirm their address.
Yeah, we are aware of that situation. It's because of the extreme traffic on the website, and they are currently working to fix that.
Okay. And I know you answered something around this already, Lisa, but just to kind of go over it again, if they do get some funding and then need some additional funding, how do they work through this program to do that or not?
When they are closing on that loan, there will be information given to them on how to request a modification. And that's
Okay.
what they would do. Won't be a whole new application. Because again, this is unprecedented. We don't know how long it's going to last or what the implications are.
All right, let me scroll back down and see. We do have several business owners where there are multiple partners or owners involved, and they are asked, anyone over that owns over 20%, to fill out a personal financial statement. What guidance would you have for people trying to upload that information for those that may not want to share between other owners what exactly their personal financial statement is?
Sorry. Ram, are you answering that one, or you want me to field that?
Yeah, so we had this come up yesterday, and we really don't have the right way. I mean, the SBA needs this information. If people are not comfortable sharing with their partners, the only people who can potentially give some kind of guidance on this would be the disaster office, disaster assistance customer service folks. I'm pretty sure that has come before.
Right.
Someone's asking if they formed an LLC and have an existing business loan. Does that count as a business entity?
They form an LLC and have an existing business loan. Does that count as a business entity? Yes, it would. Mm-hmm.
So we've gotten lots of questions from clients about this. This last one says they have two businesses. Do they do two applications? I know this is different for everyone, but can you kind of walk us through how they might start to segment that, and then how that kind of then goes into business affiliates?
Sure. So at this, if you have, I spoke with a gentleman yesterday. He had one LLC that umbrellaed across a retail location, doing private music lessons, and then also he's a performer. But all three of those entities function under one umbrella. So that gentleman would make one application discussing the needs for each piece of that umbrella, but it would be one umbrella. Then we had a situation yesterday, two separate LLCs, two separate locations, two separate businesses owned by the same people. So they would make two applications with that 2 million cap on each application.
And would they be listing the other on each application as an affiliate business?
They would ask, it is going to ask for affiliation, but what we have been given guidance on is that as far as the disaster piece itself, the affiliation won't, there's no cap, so it won't hurt them in this situation.
Okay, so they still need to list those affiliations that they do have ownership in as the owner themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Does the 3.75% interest start in 12 months when the repayment starts, or is interest accruing even through this deferment period?
It's a total deferment, so the interest isn't going to start accruing until after the 12 months.
Okay. So make sure I'm not missing anybody here.
Got a lot.
I do. Have you talked to anyone, as I'm looking through here, have you talked to anyone who has called the customer service line, and have you gotten feedback on how that's worked?
I've called the customer service line myself, and most of the time they're saying that your wait time will exceed 10 minutes. That is not a lie. But they do allow you to, or they were yesterday allowing you to leave a number and they call you back, and then they do call you back. Ram, do you have any additional information on the customer service line?
Yeah, so once you get a hold of them, they are also capable to look at your application and see where you are stuck, so that they can actually provide some feedback.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing, we just ask for everyone to be patient. We've never had anything on this magnitude. You know, in the past, we've had tornadoes or hurricanes that hit 5 or 6 states, but this is affecting the entire nation. And we also have 5 territories. So it's unprecedented. And we've tried to get things developed as quick as we could.
Any other last minute questions? Feel free to throw them in here. Somebody's asking about the fees. So again, there are no fees. There's no closing cost for these loans. There's no annual fee.
I see a question
go
about
ahead.
the amount of virus in the local area matter, and what is the entire, I mean, we're qualified, the entire state's qualified, so how many cases or deaths in your area wouldn't necessarily help or hinder your application. It's an equal playing field.
There's one about if somebody owns multiple businesses, does Missouri SBA only handle the Missouri entity? So SBA is a federal entity, and they will span over the 50 states.
That's right. Right. I would say too, I know I've spoke to several businesses like in the Branson area. I think it's important for seasonal businesses to make sure you have that that's reflected and that's mentioned in your application, because you know a 6-month fix for a Branson show is not going to take them through till next season. So make sure that you identify the need you have.
And so would there be a place that they should put narrative type information like that in?
There's, I think it's on the 3rd page. I think some of Ram's slides included the application page. I think there's a spot for narrative on it.
And then there's a question here about do they have to show a current loss, or can this be for a just in case scenario, because we don't know what's going to happen over the next 30, 60, 90 days.
Ram, you can chime in on this one, but the way I understand it, they're looking at those past tax years and the information you're giving on what your liabilities are. So it looks like they're just assuming loss in each case.
That's true.
And they're really looking at, so correct me, they're really looking at what does the business need in order to continue to sustain, correct?
Correct. It's not based on lost sales or lost contracts, that type of thing. You know, we would not have the capacity to fulfill the sales and contract gains for each business.
Okay. Anything else? And I'll continue to kind of scroll up through here.
I would also encourage, you know, if you have staff, the Missouri Career Center has some programs tied to this. We have other entities around the area and federally that are have additional services available. So definitely, you know, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Look for as many resources as you possibly can.
And I'll also mention, all of you found this webinar, so you're clearly connected somehow to us. So we are going to have another webinar on Thursday, tomorrow, where we will have Lisa and Ram with us again, but we will also include a micro lender. We will also include 2 lenders from local banks to kind of share with us what other financing options are available and how you can work with your lender through this time. We're going to have another webinar very similar to this one, where we're going to focus on the SBA disaster loans. That's on Friday morning. And then we're also doing one on Friday afternoon during the lunch hour with an insurance agent to kind of talk through ways you could look at reducing your operating expenses with your insurance without putting your business at any undue risk. So those things are coming up, and we'll have more. We're working on one with the Missouri Job Center. Lisa mentioned that they have some resources available as you try to work with your employees and, you know, figure out the difficult decisions of laying them off, or, you know, do you furlough them and what's the difference? And so we'll have information on that hopefully today or tomorrow, and get those live for registration as well.
Ram here.
Yes, Ram.
I have one question here, which we normally get asked. How does the SBA prioritize applications for complete applications? These are all first come, first served basis.
Yeah.
Okay. Ram and Lisa, any other kind of last minute thoughts or tips for applying?
I think that pretty well covers it. We appreciate everyone being on the call, and we really appreciate you, Crystal, for putting this on.
Thank you.
Yeah, likewise here. We appreciate you guys being on the call. I appreciate Crystal and her team for putting this together. You know, like I mentioned at the very beginning, this is a fluid situation. If anything changes, we will reach out back to you, and then we will continue to have these webinars as we get more information.
And Ram, have you found, I know that in the very beginning you said you were sending me the forms and we were sharing those with clients. Have you found that people saying those are helpful as they start to apply, that they've worked through that prior to hopping online?
Yes, that's something I mentioned during the presentation. Once people identify what forms are needed for their specific scenario, having a physical copy of those forms and tentatively filling those up before going to the online application, they have mentioned that it's more efficient than starting the application and getting stuck somewhere. And one more thing, make sure you save your application. Because of the unprecedented volume, it's very likely the website might crash on you. So save frequently.
Okay. Oh, and Lisa just answered. I was going to ask about the customer service hours, and Lisa's saying that they are open 24/7.
Yes, it pays to be a night owl with our system. So
I've had a lot of clients tell me they're going to just stay up very late and do it, 1, 2 in the morning. So we'll see if that method helps or not. I don't know. Okay. So just to again remind everybody, oh, we're still having, the SBA site is down right now. Any idea when it might be back up? Have you guys had any communication about that, Ram and Lisa?
Not yet.
Okay.
Like I said before, this was supposed to happen overnight, but then because of the magnitude of things, seems like it has extended. We'll let you guys know as soon as it is open.
Okay. So if you registered for this webinar through our registration link, we of course have your email address, and we will be emailing out the slides as a follow-up directly to everyone who is registered. And so I will make sure that gets done over the next hour or so. So give me just a little bit of time to do that. Also remember that we are updating our website daily or multiple times a day as we get information. And as we do get updates, I can also send an email to everyone who attended this as well. So try to stay in communication with you. If you have any questions or need us for any reason, you can call us at 417-837-2617, knowing that you may get a voicemail, but we are returning calls. And the best way, honestly, to reach a consultant right now is to visit our website. There's a direct link that goes to our calendars, and you can schedule an appointment on our calendar. If you don't see a time that's working for you, you can reach out to us via email, sbdc.missouristate.edu, and we will get back with you and try to find another time if you can't. So trying to be as responsive as possible. And my staff is truly working as hard as they can to answer all of your questions, and we appreciate them. So keep them coming, and we are here to help you. So reach out and we will get back to you as soon as possible, connect you with resources as we have them. And then, like Ram and Lisa have both said, there are some questions that we are just not going to be able to answer because they're very specific and detailed. And so I have had to, have clients go on and connect with customer service, but they have everything all the feedback I've gotten is they have had good experiences, and they've gotten answers to those questions as they've called. So hopefully that helps just a little bit. All right, so with that, we are recording this, and so I will try to figure out how we're going to share this with everyone. I don't know about email because it's probably large, and so I'll work on that and let you all know what we're going to do with it. And then if it's available and when it's available, I'll make sure that you know where to go to get it as well. So thank you for asking that. Okay, Ram and Lisa, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us this morning and sharing the knowledge that you guys have about the disaster loan programs.
Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate the invitation. And then to all our small business owners out there, we hear you, we feel you. These are challenging times. Bear with us. We'll get through this together. As we get updated information that might be of value to you, we'll definitely share with you and our resource partners.
Great. All right. Thanks everyone so much. I echo Ram, we're here for you. So reach out. We have people across the state here to help you. And we'll do what we can to assist you through this difficult time. So thanks everybody. Keep in contact with us, and we will be sharing more information with you.